Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Curmel Moton, he put together his pound-for-pound list, at least his top 5. And finally, we have a fighter who's not afraid to put the Americans on the top of the list when it is warranted. Here's how Curmel Moton's pound-for-pound list reads. He has Bud at number 1, Devin Haney at number 2, Tank at number 3, Shakur at number 4, and Inoue at number 5. The first thing I want to make clear is it's universal to have Bud at number 1. Bud is undisputed the best fighter in the world. Even the most racist organizations have Bud as number 1, just like they had Floyd Mayweather at number 1 back in the day. But yet the real odd thing is the only person who had Canelo Alvarez as number 1 was Devin Haney. Devin Haney said that Canelo was number 1 pound for pound, the best fighter in the world, which would mean he's the Michael Jordan of the sport. Then after Devin Haney beat Regis Prograis, he was asked that question again, who's pound for pound number 1? Devin then said he's number 1. Then he said Canelo is number 2 and Crawford is number 3. I keep telling you guys, the reason why the racists are so powerful is because of their numbers. It's because they always stay on code. They always stay on the same page. There's no infighting. Even if they are disagreeing with things off record, they make sure they stay on page when it comes to the public record. So when they start to paint a narrative, it becomes so influential that even fighters like Devin Haney, Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson can start following their narrative just because they heard so many people say it. In a sport that has been dominated by Black Americans since the inception, all of a sudden you have all of these black fighters that are all saying Canelo Alvarez is the Michael Jordan of the sport. Once again, this is what they were saying a couple of years ago, before Canelo lost to Bivol. Some black fighters were still saying that Canelo was the best in the world after he lost to Bivol. And that's because these fighters are giving you more of a political answer. They're trying to present a list that's accepted by the majority of the fans. Unfortunately, the majority of boxing fans are racist, which is why it is not a coincidence that every single time the Black American fighter is fighting someone who's not black, and a lot of times from another country, the American fans, they root for the foreigner. Case in point, Devin Haney versus Lomachenko, Andre Ward versus Kovalev, who happens to be a Nazi, by the way, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. We could even go further back. Tommy Hearns versus Roberto Duran, Aaron Pryor versus Alexis Arguello, Larry Holmes versus Jerry Cooney. All the way to Jack Johnson to Floyd Mayweather, it has always been the same. So now is the time for all of these black fighters to do the exact same thing these racists do. Get on the exact same page when it comes to giving these American fighters the credit they deserve. And young Curmel Moton is leading the charge. But unlike the racists, we don't have to lie. We can simply tell the truth. Even though some of this is subjective when it comes to the pound-for-pound list, but Terrence Crawford and Devin Haney being in the top 2 positions is not subjective. Curmel is one of the brightest talents in the sport of boxing. There's a lot of high expectations for him. He's expected to become pound-for-pound one of the best fighters in the world in the future. So he already has a lot of influence with his microphone and what he says on the internet. And he will continue to have even more influence the more successful he is. So more black fighters should follow Curmel's lead, not be afraid to put Americans on the pound-for-pound list or even at the top of the pound-for-pound list when they deserve to be there. Probably the only change I would make on Curmel's list is I would probably put Inoue above Shakur Stevenson, and that decision would be very subjective. Outside of that, it's a good list. And I'm glad Curmel Moton, he wasn't afraid of racist fans on the internet, and he based his list off of the best fighters. He put the names down that he felt were the best instead of putting down the names that he felt would be accepted by a bunch of racist fans. That's another thing I notice a lot of black fighters do nowadays. If they're asked a certain question, you could tell they're trying to figure out what's the right way to answer the question. What's the best way to get the most acceptance in answering this question? That's what you call a political answer, which is extremely disingenuous. You should never be afraid to speak the whole truth, no matter how people take it. At the end of the day, we know that if Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and Terrence Crawford, if they were not black and from a different country, this is exactly how all of old media's pound-for-pound list would look right now in America. Matter of fact, if any other country had this amount of talent, they would also have all of these names on their top 5 pound-for-pound list without a doubt. outside of them putting Terrence Crawford at number 1, because now they have no choice but to, because not only has Terrence Crawford been dominant for the longest, but he just knocked out Errol Spence. And they have been trying to replace Shakur Stevenson all the way back since Chocolatito Roman Gonzalez. And Terrence Crawford has outlasted all of those fighters that have come and go. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes,
Fever blisters, diabetic ulcers.
this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodekey.com.
Like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram.